Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video day. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the Houston Texans selections from the NFL draft today in day 3. The Texans made 5 selections today. I already talked about the first one, Dylan Horton. Today, we're going to be, in this video, we're going to be talking about Henry To'oTo'o, who, Alabama linebacker, was drafted in 167. A huge steal for the Texans. This might be one of the biggest steals for the Texans in this draft. And this is a guy, linebacker, really good linebacker. That was last year. Could have been a first-round pick. And I don't know, and I haven't, read a lot about him yet, but what I have heard is that he was supposed to be a first-round pick in last year's draft. Now, he elected to play another year at Alabama and, go into his senior year with Alabama. And I don't know if injuries caused something. I don't know what caused him because he had a really solid 2022 season. So I don't know what's caused him to fall all the way down to 167 where the Texans got him. But I think he's going to be a hell of a player if he plays sometime for the Texans. Texans needed to get a linebacker at some point in this draft. As much as I love the pick with Henry To'oTo'o, I really wanted the Texans to get DeMarvion Overshown in the 3rd or 4th round. I knew there was a chance someone would take him in the 3rd round, which the Cowboys did at 90, but I thought maybe that first pick, 104, maybe DeMarvion Overshown could fall to us, which he didn't. But the Texans did have a chance to potentially take him because the Texans were sitting there at 73, which the Texans eventually got Nathaniel Dell. I have no, I've been, to be honest, I have no regrets. I think Nathaniel Dell is going to be an amazing wide receiver in the NFL. I think Henry To'oTo'o is going to be a good linebacker as well, but I think DeMarvion Overshown for the Dallas Cowboys is going to be a stud. And as a Longhorns fan, I really wanted him to come here. But it is all good because the Texans did a really good job in this draft. Getting into this pick, I love it. You added in Dylan Horton, a really good guy to stop the run, one of the biggest Texans' weak points on defense last season. Also added in Will Anderson Jr. In round 1. Yeah, Will Anderson Jr. and Dylan Horton, 2 guys who are really amazing pass rushers, and both really amazing pass rushers, but both also really good at stopping the run. Now, Henry To'oTo'o, he's not that great at stopping the run, but something he's really good at is, I guess QB spy would be the answer. QB spy is basically the answer for it, but stopping the quarterback on the run, not letting the quarterback go anywhere. He has a great eye for the football field, and he's really good at stopping the run as well. So you added in another player with Henry To'oTo'o to add in another guy who's good at stopping the run with Henry To'oTo'o. You added in To'oTo'o. You added in Horton. You also added in Will Anderson Jr. So those 3 guys are new guys on the Texans defense that are really decent at stopping the run. And the Texans, that was a thing that the Texans that was their biggest weak point of last season. And the Texans secondary was solid last year. There were some points of the Texans defense where they were good. They got a lot of interceptions. They forced some fumbles. They got a decent amount of sacks. The Texans defense from time to time last year was solid. But the run defense was awful. That sometimes the pass defense was awful because the defensive line was not rushing the quarterback as good as they should be. And the quarterback for the opposing team had a lot of time to get rid of the ball. And it ended up, being a problem because then, next thing open wide receiver and just yard after yard, play after play. But now you've added in Anderson Jr., Horton, and To'oTo'o to stop the, To'oTo'o not so much, pass rushing, but Anderson Jr. and Horton to pass rush, and then all 3 To'oTo'o, Horton, and Will Anderson Jr. to stop the run, and then Horton Jr. to stop the QB run as well. And I think all 3 of those guys, if they're on the field, they'll all be well. And not only that, Texans also added some other decent pieces. They added in Denzel Perryman. Obviously, the voice of DeMeco Ryans is going to be a big endpoint of how different that run defense is going to be this season. So I think not only in this draft, but in free agency and with adding coaching staff like DeMeco Ryans and his crew, I think this coaching staff and these new players in the draft and in free agency is going to make that Texans defense way better with not only, not only just, everything, defense in general, not just talking about the, defending the run, everything. I think that Texans defense next year, I think it's, they have, in the, in training camp, the Texans have some hard decisions to make. Who are the starters day one? The Texans are going to have a lot of decisions to make. Who's in the rotation a lot, and I think there's going to be some really heavy competition in Texans training camp, and I'm really excited about for all of it. And I like this draft pick. If he plays, like I said, I think these are all great selections. Just some of these guys like To'oto and Horton, and Dell and Hutchinson and Brandon Hill. If they play, I think they could be decent players. But I'm worried about those 5 guys not playing. Because with going to the wide receiver side, Nathaniel Dell and Xavier Hutchinson, the Texans have guys like Noah Brown, Robert Woods, John Mechie, Nico Collins. Where do they come in for the offense? And those are really good guys that the Texans drafted, and I'm really excited for both of those guys. So when do those guys start to play for the Texans? Are those the 5th and 6th wide receivers on the Texans next season? Because I do think the Texans, you put 6 or 7 wide receivers on the roster, so those will be you can pretty much already guarantee the 6 wide receivers that will be on the roster for the Texans next year. You got Noah Brown, Robert Woods, John Mechie, Nico Collins, Xavier Hutchinson, and Nathaniel Dell. They could add in some other wide receivers for training camp, but you're going to have to play lights out to make that roster as a wide receiver. Make that 53-man roster as a wide receiver with Hutchinson, Dell, Brown, Woods, Collins, and Mechie. That's a stacked wide receiver core. But, like I said, I just had some worries about Hutchinson and Dell and Horton and Oto and Brandon Hill. I think they're all great players, but I just don't know about them playing a lot. And I think Hutchinson and Dell, once they get into their second years, will play a lot more than their rookie years. But I think it's going to be a long process. I think it's going to be an amazing spring training. I think it's going to be an amazing training camp with a lot of competition with the guys in the roster, the new guys, the old guys that were on the team last year. I think it's going to be. I can't wait. I usually go at least once a year, to training camp with the Texans training camp. And I think I'm going to have to maybe go more than one this year. I'm really excited for this roster. You guys have your thoughts on the addition of Henry to Oto, and I love the selection. That's your video. If you guys enjoyed, and peace out.